Nobody is going to show you the real version of this. Not the highlight reel, not the transformation photo, not the motivational quote on a black background, not the 30-second clip of someone waking up at 5 in the morning with a smile on their face and a perfect kitchen and soft piano music playing in the background. That is not what discipline looks like. Discipline looks like suffering quietly. It looks like doing the thing when you are exhausted, when nobody is watching, when the results have not arrived yet and you have no proof that any of it is working. It looks like dragging yourself forward through a season that feels like it will never end. That is the version they do not post. That is the version that actually builds something real. I am going to talk to you about that version for the next 15 minutes. The hard one. The one that costs something. The one that most people quit before they ever see what it was building. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will understand something about discipline that most people never figure out in their entire lives. And that understanding is going to change the way you move. Here is the lie you were sold. Discipline is supposed to feel good. Discipline is supposed to be a lifestyle. Discipline is something that elite people have naturally, and everyone else has to borrow from a motivational video. That is not discipline. That is a costume. Real discipline is not a feeling. It is not a mood. It is not something you wake up full of and lose by Tuesday. Real discipline is an agreement you made with your future self, a contract. And contracts do not care how you feel today. The fitness industry sold you discipline as aesthetics. The productivity industry sold you discipline as morning routines. The self-help industry sold you discipline as identity. Wake up early, cold shower, journal, grind, post about it, feel good about feeling disciplined. But here is what none of them told you. The people who are actually winning are not performing discipline. They are not talking about discipline. They are not building a brand around discipline. They are just doing the work, alone, in the quiet, day after day after day after day. The lie is that discipline is exciting. The truth is that discipline is boring, repetitive, unglamorous, and the people who understand that are the ones who actually get somewhere. I want to be direct with you about something that nobody in this space is honest enough to say. Discipline costs you things you love. It costs you comfort. The long sleep, the easy Sunday, the nights out, the scrolling sessions that bleed into hours without you noticing, the relationships that pull you back toward who you used to be, the version of yourself that was easier to be around because you were not threatening anyone with your focus. It costs you belonging in certain rooms. When you stop numbing yourself, people who were comfortable around your numbness start to feel uncomfortable. When you start working towards something real, people who stopped working start to resent you for it. Not out loud, in the small ways, the jokes that are not really jokes. The comments designed to shrink you back down to where you were. Discipline costs you the easy version of today for the better version of tomorrow. And that trade is brutal when you are in the middle of it, because tomorrow is invisible. Today is immediate. And every single day the immediate will try to outbid the important. The disciplined person is someone who has learned to feel the pull of comfort and choose the work anyway. Not because they do not feel the pull, but because they have decided that the pull does not get to make their decisions. That is not natural. That is not a gift. That is a skill, built through repetition and failure and getting back up and doing it again when every reasonable part of you is telling you that stopping is fine. Stopping is never fine. Not when you have made the agreement. Not when you know what is waiting on the other side. There is a moment that every disciplined person knows. It does not happen at the gym. It does not happen in the highlight reel. It does not happen in the moment of victory. It happens at 3 in the morning when the alarm goes off and the room is cold and the bed is warm and your body is telling you every legitimate reason why today could be the exception. That moment is not a test of your schedule. It is a test of your identity. Who are you when there is no audience? When there is no one to see whether you got up or stayed down? When the only person who will ever know is you? That is where character is built. Not in the public moments, in the private ones. The ones that cost something and pay nothing immediately. Kobe Bryant used to train at 3 in the morning. Not for show, not for the story. Because the hours between midnight and dawn are hours that most of the world is asleep. And in those hours, if you are working while they are sleeping, you are compounding an advantage that they do not even know exists yet. By the time the world wakes up, you have already done something they have not done. Day after day, year after year, that gap becomes a canyon. The dark hours are not punishment. The dark hours are the advantage. The silence is the gift. The discomfort is the signal that something real is happening. Because real growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in the resistance, in the friction, in the moments you almost stopped, but did not. Here is where most people fail. And it is not because they are weak. It is because they built their discipline on the wrong foundation. They built it on willpower. Willpower is a resource. It depletes. Every decision you make in a day draws from the same pool. By the time you get to the evening, the pool is low. And the version of you that had perfect intentions this morning is now sitting on the couch, making choices that the morning version would not recognize. Willpower is the starting engine. It is not the fuel system. The people who sustain discipline long-term are not people with more willpower. They are people who built systems that remove the need for willpower. They do not decide whether to work out. The shoes are already by the door. They do not decide whether to study. The books are already open. They do not decide whether to save money. The transfer already happened automatically before the decision could be made. They engineered their environment to make the right choice the path of least resistance. So on the days when the willpower is gone, the system still runs. On the days when the emotion is not there, the structure holds. On the days when every feeling says, stop, the habit says, continue. A system is discipline that does not require you to be at your best every day. It requires you to be consistent enough to build it on your good days, and then it carries you on the bad ones. Build the system, then trust it, even when you cannot feel it working, especially then. I want to ask you something, and I want you to answer it honestly without the version of yourself you perform for other people. What do you do when no one is watching? Not what you tell people you do, not what you plan to do. What you actually do at 9 o'clock at night when the day is winding down and there is no accountability and no consequence and no one to report to. What happens in those hours? What do you reach for? What do you avoid? What do you become? That is your real identity, not the one you built in public. Here is why this matters so completely. The brain does not differentiate between public actions and private actions when it comes to building who you are. Every private choice trains the nervous system in a direction. Every time you choose the work over the escape in private, you are telling your brain this is who we are. And over time, the brain stops negotiating. It just becomes. The problem for most people is that their private behavior is in conflict with their public identity. They say they want one life, but they build a different one in the hours when nobody is watching. And then they wonder why the gap between who they say they are and who they actually are keeps growing. Discipline is the practice of closing that gap. It is the daily act of making your private self match your public declaration, not for anyone else, for the integrity of your own existence, because you cannot build anything real on a foundation that is split in two. The person you become in private is the person you will be in public. No exceptions, no shortcuts. The work is private first, always. You have been waiting for it to get easy. I know because everyone does. You think that at some point the discipline will click and the work will feel effortless, and you will wake up in the morning and the resistance will just be gone. It does not go away. The resistance never disappears. It just changes shape. When you are a beginner, the resistance is the physical difficulty, the muscle soreness, the confusion, the steep learning curve. But the people who push through the beginning find out that the resistance does not leave. It evolves. Now the resistance is consistency. Now it is the plateau. The long middle where the results have slowed and the excitement of being new has worn off, and what is left is just the work itself with nothing else around it. And then if you push through that, the resistance becomes the pressure of expectation, the fear of the next level, the weight of what you have built and what it now requires of you to maintain and grow it. The resistance is not the enemy of discipline. The resistance is the proof that discipline is working. You only feel resistance against things that matter. You do not feel resistance against things you do not care about. The fact that it is hard is the signal. It is pointing you toward the thing that will change you. David Goggins did not become who he is by finding an activity that felt comfortable. He became who he is by running toward the thing that felt most impossible and doing it until the impossible became ordinary, and then finding something harder. Stop waiting for it to get easy. Start getting better at doing it while it is hard. That is the only path. And the people who understand that are the ones who end up somewhere that looks impossible from where you are standing right now. Here is what I want you to understand before this ends. Discipline does not build the life you thought it was building. You start being disciplined because you want the result. The body, the money, the skill, the achievement. And those things come. The work produces the outcomes. That part is real. But somewhere in the process, something else happens. Something you did not plan for. Something that cannot be photographed or posted or pointed to on a chart. Discipline builds a relationship with yourself that you cannot buy and cannot fake. You learn that you can be trusted. That when you tell yourself you are going to do something, you actually do it. That your word to yourself means something. Most people have never experienced that. Most people have broken so many promises to themselves that they stopped making them. They stopped believing that they were the kind of person who could follow through. And that quiet loss of faith in themselves is the most expensive thing they ever paid. Discipline is how you earn yourself back. Every rep you did not want to do. Every morning you got up when you wanted to stay down. Every night you chose the work over the distraction. Every time you honored the agreement when breaking it would have been easy. All of it was not just building the result. It was building you, the version of you that is unshakable. The version of you that does not need external validation because you have the most important validation there is, your own. That version of you cannot be taken, cannot be argued with, cannot be undone. It is the permanent record of what you chose when it cost something, and it will be with you for the rest of your life. The hard life nobody talks about is not a punishment. It is a construction, day by day, choice by choice. In the silence, in the dark, in the private hours when nobody is watching. That is where you are built. Now go build.